The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for October 20th, 2025. This is season 15, episode number 12, and episode number 525 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, where I am sick, and I know that my co-host, Taylor Welch, is also sick. Taylor, how you feeling today? I hear you have almost basically the same thing as I have.
I mean, I feel fine other than sounding like this and just being absolutely exhausted, but it's been a fun weekend, let me tell you.
Yeah, because you guys don't take a weekend off, do you? Ever?
No, never, ever. Right now, he's trying to figure out planning between going to the races and traveling for hockey. So it's, do we go out when they go to Port Huron, or do we stay back and go to a race in this city? So it's been fun. Yeah.
And then you, no matter what, try to watch the races or try to watch the games so you can obviously write the impact players. And by the way, I didn't think that we'd go this far into the season already and there'd be somebody you literally have talked about in almost every impact players report.
I stayed away from talking about him for the Saturday game. I could have. I did take a couple notes on him, but I don't know. It's just the way he's playing his game. It's easy to write about him.
And we're talking about Ivan Bondarenko or Ivan Bondarenko, depending on who you were listening to in the arena. That was in Danbury that they said Ivan, right?
No, it was in our arena.
Oh, it was Frank Perney?
Yeah.
Perney?
Yeah.
Perney, if you're listening to this, how do you say his name? Come on. I thought it was Ivan.
No, I'm pretty sure he was saying Ivan Bondarenko the whole game.
Oh.
I remember Jeremy and I kept exchanging looks, and he goes, I don't remember what Jeremy had said about it, but I was like, I'm sticking with Ivan.
Oh, well, I mean, Yvonne sounds like a girl's name to me. So I don't know, Frank, if you're listening to this, you got to let me know what you were saying if you were saying Yvonne. I don't always hear Frank when I'm up in the press box, and I definitely on Saturday didn't hear them because I was home being sick and trying to get through that. My voice is a little bit better today. I filled up like a plastic bag full of tissues between Friday and Sunday. That's how bad it was. Like a whole bag of just tissues, blowing my nose. It's just terrible. I hate this time of year when I get sick for that first time and then I'm doing the show. Like, why not in the middle of June when I'm barely talking to anybody, right? No, it's got to happen at this time of year. Taylor, let me ask you this before we get into everything. The team is 4-0. This is the first time, and I want everyone to really kind of think about this for a second. This is the first time the Black Bears have started off the season 4-0. And I don't think, and you and I were talking about this off air, I don't think we've seen their best game yet. Even though I really did like Saturday's game, I still don't think we've seen their best game yet.
Yeah, we definitely agreed on that. And even, I mean, the people that were sitting behind us in the Friday game were kind of like, they felt like something was off, whether it was just, with Connor McNanama or just the team in general. Like, I heard a lot of comments about the team didn't seem like they were meshing that well, but we're still winning and they've won every game so far. So for the fans to realize that this team isn't quite meshing well, just kind of goes to show that they know that this team can play better, and we haven't played our best game yet, and we're still winning.
Yeah, and I also think that when you look at the roster, right? I mean, we have 24 guys on the roster. I just put a post on the Facebook page talking about the roster. It's at 24 right now. 2 guys are on the injury reserve list, Tyson Kirkby, Nick Swain. So they're not in there doing the normal things that they wouldn't be normally doing at this part of the season. And then you have literally guys being cycled in to get some game playing time. So Coach Quinville and Coach Sherwood can see what these guys are made of to make the determinations who are going to be on the main roster for the rest of the season. So I think if they look out of sync, I think if Connor doesn't look right, I think it's more because of trying to figure out what puzzle pieces are going to fit in those last couple pieces.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do like that they're constantly trying out new lines and they're constantly putting these guys in different places. I think it's a great way to see who fits in where and who doesn't fit. But even if you're like, I don't think our defense is the strongest right now.
Okay.
But even still looking at that, watching him kind of switch those guys around to see, who matches the best with Dan Stone or who matches the best with Jesse Anderson. Just going through the motions of figuring out where everybody should fit in, but they're still able to go out there and, they might have a bad first period or they might, take a couple penalties in this period, but they can still go out there and come out with the win.
No, that's totally true. And if you think about it, we haven't seen a consistent partner with Jesse Anderson. We haven't seen a consistent partner with Dan Stone yet. And I think he wants that to be, Dan Weber, just by talking to him, before the season started. And then, of course, when Dan Weber came back, he puts him with Dan Stone. I liked Scott Ramakers with him. I thought Scott Ramakers with Dan Stone, I thought they moved the puck really well, but we only saw that for one game. And we've seen, Dan Weber with him since then. So it is interesting. There is a little bit of time to kind of figure this out, and they're 4-0. So whatever little movement that they have to do to figure out who plays best with, they've got the time and it's working out. And then, of course, this upcoming weekend, they're going to have Watertown, which they've already played. So they kind of know what they're going to get a little bit with Watertown. So I think the Black Bears are okay. And I think this could come off being one of the best starts that the team has ever had. And we're all sitting there going, well, maybe the team could be a little bit better because, it just seems like it, especially without Tyson there. Tyson hasn't been there for a couple of the games. Nick Swain hasn't been there for a couple of the games. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the roster is kind of set in stone, with maybe just a little tweak here and there every once in a while. Like, you want to get a player in that's, sitting on the bench. You want to get them out there and playing. It'll be interesting to see what this roster looks like. But I do think that we've seen certain parts of it be staples, like Austin Thompson playing with, Ivan Bondarenko and, of course, with Mac Jansen. I think that's a sure bet we're going to see that a lot this year.
Yeah, and the second and third line are, I think, fan favorites to watch right now, especially the third line. I know the third line doesn't have much to show for it goal-wise, but they definitely are able to move the puck a lot out there. And I know that their names are said quite a lot on that broadcast.
Yeah.
I think the real test will be when it gets to November 1st and you've got to have a set roster that, I wouldn't say a set roster, but, you got to kind of limit and get rid of a couple of guys and make sure that you have your limit. I think that's when we'll see, more set in stone of what the lines are going to look like and how our roster is going to look like for the rest of the year. Yeah,
they'll be more consistent. I'm going to ask you in a little bit about the Zach Sirota boarding that happened. So hopefully, I think that happened right in front of you where you were sitting in the arena. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that when we get to that. But let's get into this. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment, and share our latest episodes with your friends. We're only 9 away from 1,000 members in the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Search binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show from the Binghamton Black Bears, it's a continuation of our interview last Thursday with Mac Jansen. He answers 6 more questions, so that'll be very interesting. Let's get into this and start breaking down these games. So, Taylor, let's get this started.
All right, so October 17th, 2025, in the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena, we had Game 3 of the season against the Danbury Hat Tricks. The first period, the Bears got on the board first with a Cam Clark goal after tapping in a rebound shot after a Dan Stone shot was mishandled by the Hat Tricks netminder just 2:31 into the game. Coming in all alone in the offensive zone and receiving a pass from Jesse Anderson, Ivan Bondarenko scored his first goal of the season, giving the Black Bears a 2-0 lead just 4:14 into the period. The Hat Tricks get the game within one goal with a power play goal from Jordan Crom with 24 seconds left to go in the period as Zach Sirota was tagged with goalie interference, making contacts with the Hat Tricks' Kyle Penton.
Okay, so, scratching this game was Tyson Kirkby, Nick Swain. They were the injured guys. Nolan Egbert, Emerson Emery, let's see here, Luke Dobles and Cody Rumsey were scratched. Starters for the Black Bears was Tim Kim, Gavin Yates, and CJ Stubbs. That was the top line. Dan Stone, Dan Weber, and Connor McAnanama got to start. Great rebound goal for Cam Clark on the left side of the Hat Tricks netminder. I think that happened right in front of you guys. Dan Stone took a great shot, and there was basically the rebound came out, and Cam Clark, who loves to park right there on the left-hand side if you're facing the goaltender, or the right-hand side of the goaltender, he loves to just park right there. And he got a great shot there for a goal. Not too far later, the Black Bears get a breakaway with Jesse Anderson connecting with Ivan Bondarenko, who scored the first goal of the season alone in the slot. I mean, he was all by himself in that. In that game, Taylor, literally Ivan Bondarenko had two goals where he basically undressed their goaltender, where he came right in front of them and was able to make moves that we don't always see here in the Fed.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I kind of enjoy talking about him. I mean, he's got the vet status, and it really kind of shows against these new goalies or these young netminders that he doesn't waste time. He just gets right in there and gets the puck in. He doesn't take the time to set it up. He just kind of goes for it, and it works.
Right. He's making that decision quicker than what we normally see down here. Now, that's probably going to change more as more of the players of his caliber and Mac Jansen's caliber come down here, like a CJ Stubbs. They make the decisions quicker. So he knows he's going to take that shot. He already knows as he's going into the slot. He's crossing over in front of, Gavin Yates did this for a long time in this league, where he would just go diagonally in front of the goaltender and then make a decision. Either I'm going to drop it off to somebody else or I'm going to take the shot. And he does it pretty quickly. The Black Bears, through 15 minutes of the period, led in shots on goal 11-1. The Black Bears dominated the Hat Tricks in the first period, in my opinion. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
The Hat Tricks netminder Kyle Penton played a good game and had a good period and had to stop a lot of shots, only giving up two. The Zach Sirota goalie interference penalty at the end of the period was helped a lot after Penton flopped pretty hard after contact was made. Was there contact? 100%. There was definitely contact. Yes. Goalie interference. Maybe not, though, because when the puck was already saved by Penton and the puck had already started to move away from Penton, that's when the contact happened. However, the referees are going to make this call almost all the time. Did you agree with the goalie interference call on Zach Sirota?
Not necessarily. I understand why they made the call. I do get it, but at the same time, his flopping definitely sold that for anybody. I know the fan base wasn't too happy about it, and I could see if it was maybe like a little more intentional, or if Sirota knew exactly that that's how that was going to go. But he came pretty far out of the crease. Yeah. When all that happened, so I definitely think I don't know. I think it was kind of both their faults.
But he'd already made the save. The save had already happened, or he had kicked the puck away. I don't know if that was even recorded as a shot, depending on the angle of the way the puck came in. But it was interesting. I know a lot of people were upset about it. But this did lead to a power play goal for Jordan Crom after the goal hit the post and bounced off a CMAC and into the back of the net. That was interesting. Now, that was all the way on the other side of the ice from you. But you could clearly see on the replay, it hit the post, hit the backside of CMAC, and then went into the net.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments from the people behind us, which is why I don't think they've been to many games in the past 2 seasons, about like our goalie just seemed off. And I'm like, he's had a couple fluky goals. I'm like, those aren't regular goals.
No.
I mean, only the Johnny Ruiz one, that one's pretty good, but the other two that they had, they were just they were flukes. It happens. It's unfortunate, but it did happen, and it's just not something that you would normally see in an everyday game.
Yeah, the Ruiz goal, which we'll talk about here in just a couple minutes, he was completely screened because Connor didn't move at all. I think he moved his left arm at one point to try to make the stop, and that was it. So that was definitely something he didn't see. All right, to finish off the first period, power play opportunities, Binghamton was 0 for 1. Danbury was 1 for 2. Obviously, they got the Crom power play goal. Shots on goal, Binghamton 17, Danbury 4. Let's go into the second period.
The second period, the Black Bears take a 2-goal lead again after Ivan Bondarenko scores his second goal of the night after flying through the slot and beating Penton again, this time at the 1:57 mark of the second period. With Dan Weber in the penalty box for tripping the hat trick, scored their second power play goal off the stick of their captain, Johnny Ruiz, 5:38 into the middle period. The Black Bears once again go up by 2 goals, this time because of an Austin Thompson power play tally with 2 minutes and 34 seconds left to go in the period.
Yeah, if anybody read my day after game report, I talk about how the Black Bears, get a 2-goal lead. Then they let Danbury back in, and then another 2-goal lead. And then it was a theme throughout this game for sure. All right. If Bondarenko cannot be stopped skating into the slot or through the slot, he will score a lot of goals in this league. He has speed and the stick handling skills to beat a lot of netminders in this league. Fair statement?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
The Rees power play goal, it did not look like C-Mac saw the puck coming at him after it left Rees' stick. I don't know. I mean, that's the way I saw online. I know it was, closer to you. Do you think that C-Mac even saw that puck coming?
No. But I do think, I don't know, maybe if it was brought up, after the game or for the Danbury game the following day, but I did write about it in my impact players, that either in my notes or as the actual impact players, but there was at one point somebody was screening C-Mac and he got shoved out of the way so that he could see where the puck was coming, and he ended up making a good save after that, and he was able to follow the puck around the net and get to the other side of the post before they could score a goal. Yeah.
All right, with about 5 minutes left to go in the period, Jesse Anderson had a great chance, but Penton did a post-to-post save to keep the score at 3-2. The Black Bears' first power play goal of the game came after Bondarenko made a great long pass to C.J. Stubbs. This was a beautiful play because Bondarenko made a very long pass to C.J. Stubbs. C.J. Stubbs was actually ahead of Austin Thompson in the play, but dropped past it back to Austin Thompson, who took a great shot for the man-up goal. To me, it was probably one of the best things we'd seen in the first 3 games, where guys who hadn't normally played with each other were playing with each other. I mean, because you're talking about Bondarenko, who didn't play for Roanoke up in the SPHL, so it's not like he played with C.J. Stubbs. Austin and C.J. Stubbs didn't play a lot with each other last year, except for when C.J. Stubbs went up to the first line. So you had 3 guys who hadn't normally played with each other make a play like that, and it was just a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I remember watching it, the game afterwards, because I take little clips and kind of put them together, especially the goals. And I remember watching Stubbs drop that back for Thompson, and it was just one of those things where you're watching that and you think, as that goalie, I'm sure you thought Stubbs was going to take it. And it kind of, I'm sure it threw him off his game and made it easier for Austin to get that in.
Yep, I totally agree. The hat tricks, Arturo Kursarov had 3 penalties in the second period. Black Bears scored on one of them in the second period, and I believe then he goes and has another one in the third period as well. The Black Bears had 38 seconds of power play time left when the third period started. Power play opportunities were Binghamton 1 for 3, Danbury 1 for 2. Shots on goal, Binghamton, I have 3 in there, and I know that's not right. I don't know why I had 3 in there. Danbury had 15 shots on goal, and the shots on goal are just not right. We're not going to talk about the shots on goal. Let's just move on to the third period.
All right, the third period, the Hat Tricks again made this a one-goal game with Austin Belfoy. Shot hit off one of the Black Bears in front of Connor McNanama and into the net at the 7:09 mark in the third period. Gavin Yates scored his first goal of the season, and it was an insurance goal, putting them up 5-3 with just 1 minute and 17 seconds left in the game. Then Scott Ramekers makes this game 6-3 with just 39 seconds to go after a great feed from Jacob Shankar, who assisted on 3 goals in the Black Bears' third win of the season.
Yeah, okay. So at the 4:35 mark of the third period, Karsavov took his 4th straight penalty for the Hat Tricks. Belfoy goal appeared to go off of Scott Ramekers as he took a bad angle past CMAC. Again, all 3 of those goals were, in my eyes, kind of fluky goals, kind of goals that you don't normally see. And maybe that's how you have to beat the Black Bears nowadays. Maybe that's how you have to beat CMAC, is have weird shit happen that allows, that kind of like throws CMAC off, right? If you go head on head with CMAC, I think he's going to beat you 90 plus percent of the time, right? But I think if you have some fluky stuff like the Rees goal, he was screened, and then the other 2 goals were just kind of fluky kind of goals where weird stuff happens, right? You hit the post, it goes off, a CMAC goes in. This time it goes off, a Scott Ramekers goes in. Really no fault of CMAC at all.
Well, I mean, if your thing is to try to beat CMAC with fluky goals, just know that we still won that game, and then he went and shut him out the next game. So I don't know if you want to try to beat him, but just know that might be coming your way if you try.
Okay. So after Sirota got waxed into the boards by Trey Delaray, Jacob Shankar instigated a fight with Delaray and did well in his first professional fight. I liked the way Shankar stuck up for Sirota, and I liked the way he was trying to get the fans into it as well afterwards. So what were your thoughts on, first of all, the hit on Sirota that took him down, and then the way Shankar responded?
My initial thought when the hit happened was that it was ridiculous because Delory's, 3 feet taller than Sirota. So any kind of hit that he would have made, it didn't look good. Even watching the replay, the hit didn't look good. I'm glad that, Sirota's fine and he was okay and he played the next game.
Mm-hmm.
I am very happy that immediately following that, Shankar went right up, and normally when our fights break out, there's a lot of, they grab the jersey and there's a lot of standoff.
Sure.
Shankar didn't do that. He shoved him, his helmet went back, and he was shaking his helmet trying to get it back on, and he just started throwing. And I think that through that I don't think Delory knew it was coming, and I don't think he was prepared for it at all. And I think it threw him off his game completely.
Actually, I think Zach didn't play the next game, by the way.
Oh, he didn't. That's right.
No, he
did. Rumsey was in.
Yeah, Rumsey got slotted in. So, listen, I saw Zach get up. He, at the end of the fight, he was standing. He was kind of watching everything. Listen, they called the boarding. They called instigating. I understand that. I think the other guy knew it was coming, though, once he did the hit. It was an interesting thing for sure. But it was probably... if I had to say, I think that was probably the most physical thing that happened over the weekend. Would you agree?
I think it's the most physical thing that's happened for their entire 4 games.
Yeah. Was that boarding?
Yeah.
But we haven't played Port Huron yet, so we'll see. All right, the Hat Tricks pulled their goalie at the 2:04 mark when they called a timeout. Gavin Yates and Scott Ramekers scored late in the third period, putting an end to the Hat Tricks' chances. They both scored their first goals of the season. The 3 goals tonight for the Hat Tricks were just fluke goals that you normally don't see on the Black Bears. Black Bears are 3-0-0 after the first 3 games. I don't think we've seen their best game yet, and that was probably true, being that the next game was obviously the next one. The 2 teams obviously would play the next day in the Danbury Ice Arena. Power play opportunities 0 for 1 for Binghamton in the third period, and Danbury had no chances. And I think what I did is I screwed up the way the things were before. Binghamton had shots on goal 18 in the third period, Danbury 6, and Binghamton had 50 shots overall and 13 for the Danbury Hat Tricks. When you limit Danbury to just 13, but you give up 3, they have to be the fluky kind of goals, because that's just not what we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, especially for somebody like Connor McNanama, who's, he's had great games, and even on his off games, they're usually not that bad to begin with.
Yeah.
So the fluky goals, I think, definitely helped the hat tricks. I don't think the hat tricks were hitting marks very well during that game.
I agree. All right. So why don't you give us the basically the roundup of this game and whatnot?
So the Black Bears defeat the Hat Tricks in the first meeting by 6-3. Ivan Bondarenko scored 2 goals in the game and assisted on another for 3 points. Jacob Shankar assisted on 3 goals for a 3-point night. Cameron Clark scored his first goal of the season to open up the scoring for the Black Bears. Austin Thompson scored his 4th goal of the season and now leads the team in that category. Thompson's second period goal ended up being the game winner. Gavin Yates scored his first goal of the game, an empty net goal at the end of the game. Scott Ramaker scored the Black Bears' 6th goal in the game and his first goal of the season. Connor McNanama saved 10 out of 13 shots on the night, improving his record to 2-0-0 of the season. The Black Bears are now 3-0-0 with 8 points on the season.
All right, so that was the first game. I think my biggest takeaway from the first game against Danbury is there was no shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fight, which I think was, warranted, there wasn't hardly any penalties. There wasn't really a lot of extra stuff that happened on the ice. I don't even know if I saw any yelling between the benches.
Yeah, I don't think so. It was just weird. And then I think we can continue this conversation after we get back and we talk about the game in Danbury, because there was no shenanigans down there and nothing that was reported to me that would have been off ice shenanigans. And there almost always is. It really does seem like, the big boys have finally come to the table and sat down and have worked things out between the two organizations. And, there's still 15 more games to go. Well, 14 now, because we have played 2 games against them. But it's good to see that maybe, the big boy britches have been pulled up and we can just play hockey.
Yeah, I am glad to see that, so far, even against Watertown, that our season so far seems to be just playing hockey and not the extra shenanigans.
Yep. Okay. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, we're going to take a small break so she can clear her throat, take a drink of water. I can do the same thing because gosh knows we're struggling to get through this, but we will get through this. We will get through this here for you on the Power Play Post Show. But coming up next, 6 more questions with Mac Jansen. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. 6 more questions with Mac Jansen. Mac, you ready for these?
I'm ready.
All right. So, number 1, who was the greatest influence on your hockey career?
Obviously, the cliche answer is my father. Yeah, I owe everything to him. But in the hockey world, sure, I always would try to role model my game after Zach Parise.
Okay, another Minnesota guy. It's okay to say your dad, because I think family is very important. No, for hockey players, yeah. Listen, to get to the games, sometimes just to talk through things that happened on the ice, all those type of things, family. But you really wanted to be more like Zach Parise on the ice.
Yeah, I just always loved his energy and his enthusiasm, and listen to his interviews and stuff. I could tell how much that guy loved the game, and I like to think I love it the same way. So
perfect. All right, number 2, and I think this is going to be the hardest question for you because of some of the conversation we've had already. But what is your dream job outside of playing hockey?
anything to do with a golf course. If it's golfing or caddy or on the grounds crew, I don't care. I love golf courses. I love early mornings, and yeah, I'll go with something like that.
Are you good enough to be a golf pro? Because I know a couple of hockey players that actually went from playing to eventually becoming golf pros at golf courses.
Yeah, I could 100% be on tour.
Okay. Well, I don't mean on tour. I just mean a golf pro. I mean a golf pro at a course and everything.
yeah, I know what you meant.
What's your handicap?
I don't know. I don't know. One better than Kirkby.
I think you're going to be fun. If you're going to pick on Kirkby, I like it. This is going to be fun. All right. Number 3, which artist is on your Spotify playlist the most? So what's the band, musician, artist that you listen to the most?
I have a lot of them. I'm a big music guy. I listen to music all day, but I would say the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anything by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Really? So you're kind of like the 90s alternative. You kind of like that style?
Anything 90s. I'm a hardcore 90s baby.
Okay, gotcha. Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, you like them?
All of it. Yep.
Wow.
All day.
All right, cool. I like it. All right. Who is the most interesting guy in the locker room? Now, this is a play on a question that we did once before, who we asked who's the funniest guy. But in your opinion, if you looked at all the guys in the locker room, right, and you're like, that guy's interesting, who would be the most interesting guy in the locker room?
I don't want to offend anyone. I'm still a new guy in the locker room, but I've been getting pretty close with Sirota. I think he's just a character. He cracks me up when he could be talking serious to you and he says something to you and it just cracks me up. He's a great guy. I'm going to pick Sirota. I got to meet his father on Friday at the game. He came up to the press box to say hello, and I got to be honest with you, I see where Zach gets it now. Completely, 100%. Very, very, very cool answer. All right. Your favorite candy or sweet? Now, I know that most athletes have to eat all the best foods and, work out and all that. But for you, if you had to pick one candy or sweet that is your favorite, what would it be? That's a very hard question. I have a sweet tooth. For candy, I'll just say like milk chocolate and caramel. If those two are mixed together, I could be stranded on a desert island and eat that for the rest of my life. The ones that come in the white boxes, the Stofers, I think it is, or whatever it's called. I'll pick through and get all the dark chocolate and the caramel ones, or the dark chocolate and the coconut ones. I'll eat those all day long. I haven't graduated to the dark chocolate yet, though. Maybe in my 40s. It is. I have found that I didn't eat it much when I was younger, but I definitely enjoy it more now. It's supposed to be healthier for you too. So, all right, number 6. Now, this is the one that's been on our list since the first time we did this a few years ago. All right, so a zombie outbreak has happened, and you're locked in a ice hockey arena. Who is the one person, dead or alive, fictional, non-fictional, that you would want with you? Bill Murray. To make you laugh? It's just Bill Murray. I feel like he would know what to do. I love it. That's a great answer. Well, he was a Ghostbuster. That's an amazing question for me. I have a weird, this one could be for the fans. I have a very weird obsession with the zombie apocalypse. I love it. I love zombie movies. I'm ready for it. I love the zombie stuff. So you picked Bill Murray because he was in Zombieland. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. How funny was it? They show up at his mansion and he's just there, and eventually he gets killed. But I mean, it was hilarious. It was the best. Yeah, I'm so happy you knew that and picked up on that. That's awesome. Oh God, yeah. I have hit the poster in my TV room. We have the poster of Zombieland up there. It's a great movie, and I actually watched all the Walking Deads. I've watched all the old Night of the Living Deads, all of it. It is something that my wife and I are big on as well. Mac, once again, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been fun. And he's Mac Jansen, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was our first 6 more questions segment, and I want to thank Mac Jansen for being so cool about that. He's like 34 years old and coming on and answering all those silly questions for us. Taylor, let's start breaking down Saturday's game against the Danbury Ice.
So October 18th in the Danbury Ice Arena was game 4 of our season, the Black Bears versus the Hat Tricks. The first period, there was no scoring between the two teams as we both fired 9 shots off of Connor McAnanama and Frankie McClendon.
All right, scratches in this game for the Black Bears was Austin Thompson, which was a strange one, but okay, you know what? You want to get some of those players back into the lineup, those younger guys to see what's going on. Wyatt Freelander, which means Nolan Egbert, did dress for the game. Zach Sirota, Tyson Kirkby, Nick Swain, those were your 2 injuries. And then Luke Dobles was also he was also scratched as well. Starters were Tim Kim, Gavin Yates, Jacob Shankar, who moved obviously up to the first line, Dan Weber, Dan Stone, and Connor McAnanama got his second start in a row in the weekend. Cody Rumsey is wearing number 15. CJ Stubbs played at center for the first time this season. At the 6:30 mark, the Hat Tricks thought they had the game's first goal. The horn went off, but the referees waved it off immediately. However, they did review the play and ruled that it was a no goal. That's when I thought the shenanigans were going to begin, right? That's when always the shenanigans begin with Danbury. If something doesn't go right in their arena, something happens. And it didn't happen.
I thought that a little bit, but kind of once they waved it off, it seemed to settle down pretty quick. Like, they didn't seem mad about it. Like, normally, you'd see like the captains or the assistant captains, go over and, talk with the refs and stuff. But you didn't really see that, so I wasn't too worried about it.
Yep. All right. After a turnover at the 8:11 mark, Cameron Clark had a great chance that McClendon stopped. Late in the period, Alex Ledkoff had a great crossover opportunity that Connor McAnanama made a great post-to-post save on. No scoring in the first period for either team, as Taylor already said. Both teams had a couple good opportunities, but neither were able to convert. Power play opportunities, Binghamton 0 for 1 and Danbury 0 for 1. They both each took 1 penalty each. Shots on goal, Binghamton 9, Danbury 10. Second period.
Second period, the first goal of the game came in the second period as it was on a power play with Alexander Ledkoff in the box for holding. It only took 21 seconds of a man-up advantage time before Gavin Yates made this a 1-0 game.
The second period went back and forth with the two teams. No one was really dominant. The Black Bears played well defensively. I think this is really the game where I thought, man, defensively as a team, not just the defenders, but also the forwards were playing really good. They were getting back, helping out the defensemen. They were doing all the right things. They were winning battles in the neutral zone. They were winning battles up against the boards, those type of things. And that really does help out the goaltender. It's good that Connor is getting more shots on him. One of the things I'm going to say, and I usually don't, indulge these kind of conversations that I have with some people. But one of the things that was said to me, and I think I mentioned it to you possibly at one point, was that the belief was that Connor just wasn't seeing enough shots. And, goaltenders, because I know everyone's like, oh, Connor's off. What's going on with Connor? Well, goaltenders, they get shots taken at them multiple times in a game. When it's 10 shots or 13 shots or a very low amount, and even in this game, it ended up only being 21 shots that he faced, right? That's not a lot of shots for a goaltender to get into their flow, to get into, seeing the puck coming at them, being able to track it. It takes practice to do that. And I think that in this game, at least in the first couple of periods, he was seeing more shots come his way, which is good.
Yeah, I wrote about this a little bit in the impact players when I talked about Connor, is that it's easy to say that Binghamton takes, 50 to 60 shots on goals, but they only have so many goals to show for it. But if you're playing 60 minutes and you only have 10 shots against you, it's hard to find, how these guys are shooting, or if it's the same player, if it's not the same player. It's hard to get into a system that you can win against.
Yeah, 100%. Power play opportunities, Binghamton were 1 for 1 in the period, and Danbury was 0 for 1 in the period. Shots on goal, Binghamton had 10, Danbury had 8. Total through 2 periods was Binghamton 19 and Danbury 18.
The third period, Mac Jansen scored the Black Bears' second goal of the game after some stellar passing between Scott Ramakers, CJ Stubbs, and Ivan Bondarenko just 4:30 into the third period, making this a 2-0 game. With the game winding down and Frankie McClendon pulled for the extra attacker, Mac Jansen scored his second goal of the game and the fourth of the season to get the Black Bears a 3-0 shutout final on the road in Danbury.
All right, so let me ask you this before I go through some of the notes. Were you kind of surprised that this game ended up being just basically, really it was like 2-0, and then you get the freebie goal at the end? I thought there was going to be more to this game, and there wasn't, and I kind of liked it.
I wasn't too surprised. I've actually, since the Friday game, I've been talking with somebody who's, a Danbury fan and somebody that we've known since we've been going to Danbury. We've had a lot of back and forth conversation about how things have been going in Danbury, and they're not very happy with the way that they've done things or how things are going. Because I originally asked about what happened to McCollum, and they were just kind of telling me a little bit about their goaltenders and what they've been trying to do. So I wasn't too surprised. Danbury definitely doesn't seem like they're the team that they were, the last several years and stuff, which, is great for us. But even the fans in Danbury don't seem too pleased with what's going on there. So maybe they change things up and somehow get better. I don't know.
Do they want more shenanigans, or do they want a more competitive team?
The player, or not the player, the fan that I was talking to said that it seemed that the people they have brought in to kind of run the team seemed more interested in getting seats sold than they were about winning games. So from my understanding, it seems like management wants the shenanigans, but the fans want, them to actually win hockey games, which is what every fan wants.
Very interesting. So far, this game has been penalty-free game with just 3 for the Black Bears and 2 for the Hat-Tricks deep into the third period. The Black Bears have done a better job in the face-off zone. That is something that Brant Sherwood mentioned to Brooks Hill. Brooks Hill mentioned that on the air, and they definitely did better. Now that's saying something, because without Tyson Kirkby, who is the best on the team in the face-off circle, it's very difficult to win those face-offs, and you need to do that even with Tyson's not in there. The Hat-Tricks pulled McClendon with 1:06 left to go in the period. Nothing fancy about this game. I liked it a lot with just 3 goals and only 5 penalties and a shutout for C-Mac. And as I said, he needed to see more shots, and he did that in this game. Also, here's another game where the Black Bears are shutting down the opportunities for the other team. The Hat-Tricks only had 3 shots on goal in that third period. That, to me, Taylor, was key, right? After you got through the first 2 periods of the game, you've already got the lead. You basically got a shutout going. They basically buckled down and defensively shut down the Hat-Tricks in the third period.
Which I thought was impressive overall. But even after they pulled the extra attacker, the Black Bears seemed to just maintain control of the game and didn't give any kind of sway for the Danbury Hat-Tricks to have any kind of chance of getting a goal.
Totally agree. All right, the power play opportunities. Binghamton didn't have any, and Danbury only had 1 opportunity, and they did not convert on their man-up advantage in the third period. Shots on goal, Binghamton 15, Danbury 3, as I mentioned. And even though this is low for Binghamton, 34, still, I thought that was a great number for shots on goal, because, again, if you're going to sacrifice some shots on goal to play better defensively, I'll take that any day long. The day before, they had 50 shots on goal for Binghamton, but they gave up 3 goals. This time, only 34 shots on goal, but they gave up no goals. I'll take that any day of the week.
I think we'll all take that any day of the week. C-Mac and the Black Bears get the shutout in Danbury, 3-0. Gavin Yates scored his second goal of the season and the game winner for the Black Bears. Mac Jansen scored his third and fourth goals of the season and had an assist for a 3-point night. CJ Stubbs had 2 assists on the night and leads the team with 8 points on the season. Connor McNanama saved 20 of 20 shots and recorded his third win of the season. This was Connor's 7th career shutout as a Black Bear. The Black Bears win their 4th straight game to start the season and have 11 points on the season. And the Black Bears will travel to Watertown on Friday to face off against the Wolves.
All right. So one last thing before we go here. Again, I think 4 games in, I think the Black Bears are looking good. I think they're going to probably look better even in a couple more weeks once these guys have played a little bit more with each other. And they kind of trimmed the roster down a little bit so the lines stay a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, as we've talked about a couple times already in the show, we haven't seen their best game, and I think that's a great thing to have a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the Power Play Post Show is on Spotify. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever app and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment, and share our episodes with your friends. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, just search binghamtonhockey.net. Thanks to Rob LaPolish, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears forward, Mac Jansen, for answering 6 more questions. This was the weekend wrap-up show right here on the Power Play Post Show. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.